Hi everyone, I thought I'd just do a very quick initial impressions review on this Eken T02 tablet that I got from Panduil in China/Singapore. It seemed to have been shipped from Singapore, interestingly enough. This is an incredibly cheap 7-inch Android tablet, and this got a next generation of Android tablets that are coming out of China at the minute, which are shockingly impressive, really. This one I think was about €83 all in, delivered from China, postage and packaging, the works. All of these devices run the new Chinese all-winner ARM chip, which is basically this ARM chip and a thing called a Mali GPU work together to provide a very, very cheap basis for these tablets. So 1 gigahertz single core, but the GPU means it can do a lot more than you would otherwise think with specs like that. So I got this. It's actually for my daughter. I'll compare it size wise and so on to a few other devices I have here on the table. I'm not sure what the picture quality is like on this. I think it's pretty low. I was getting lots and lots of reflections. As you can see, I'm completely reflected in it. Let's just pop it on there. When I said next generation, really what I meant was talking about was the fact that all of these tablets are now running Android 4.0, so ice cream sandwich, so a proper tablet OS on these generic sort of no-name. I don't know if Eken is no name. I think they're actually pretty large, but these generic Chinese tablets that are effectively flooding the market at the minute, and it's a very, very nice OS. Just, I've got an iPad there beside me. Usability wise, I see no difference. I fail to understand people talking about fundamental differences between iOS and Android or any other touch operating system. It works. You tap the icons, you use your apps. I mean, there's not that much to it, really. Specs again on this thing: 512 megs of RAM rather than a gig. A really, really cheap and nasty front-facing webcam type camera. 4 gig storage built in. The screen is capacitive. This is where it gets really interesting. So €83 capacitive screen, multi-point, multi-touch. I think it's 5-point multi-touch, and then on the side, compared to your iPad, this is where you get the real win with Android. You get lots of ports. So this thing has an SD card port, headphone, mini USB as well as a micro USB, which is a slight disappointment, and mini HDMI, so you can plug it into a TV. This is the T02. There's a T0. Well, there's actually loads of models, but the T01, I struggled to find any difference on the Panduil site, and finally figured out on the Eken site that there isn't no huge difference. The T01 has a USB host port, so you can plug hard drives, whatever you like, into it, so it doesn't appear as a device, as a storage device or something else. Storage devices can be plugged into it. I have a feeling the mini USB on this can be used for the same thing with an adapter. I have one of them coming from China at the minute, so I will discover whether that's true or not. I've popped an 8 gig micro SD into this. It works fine. So that's it really on. There's not much else to say about hardware. It's got Wi-Fi, doesn't have GPS, it doesn't have Bluetooth, and in fact none of these seem to have Bluetooth, so they're all obviously using the same chipset, which for some strange reason is missing, which would have been a nice little touch. Now, pros and cons, let's talk. Responsivity, you can see yourself, it flies past one way or another. Oh, that's fine. What have I got loaded on here? You can see Angry Birds, Where's My Water, Temple Run. All of these things work fine. It has full market almost, so it's not like a lot of these tablets where you have to sideload all your apps. It's got full, in theory, and I'll qualify that in a second, in theory, Android market. The problem we've found, and a lot of people have found, is there's compatibility issues in the market. So an awful lot of apps aren't showing up because whatever way the configuration is done, the App Store doesn't think, or the Play Store doesn't think, that the apps are compatible with the device. I believe Eken are working with Google on this, and they really need to, because even basic stuff like Play Music, YouTube, I had to sideload all of those applications to get them working, but it wasn't much work. It worked fine. You've got Gmail there, I've got the Amazon Kindle app there. One of the big claims to fame, and I'll do this first, is because it's got a GPU, because it's not relying on the CPU, it can play quite high resolution video. I've tested, so this is, Katie Perry, how are you? As I said, it's for my daughter. So this is a clip from Avatar. Now, of course, what you're not going to see on this is, let's see if we can get it working. If it wants to, there we go. So there's Avatar there. Now that's actually full HD. That's 1920 HD. If you plug in a HDMI cable, so obviously, so the screen is only 800 by 480, so it's a very low res screen. I think I would prefer something of a higher resolution, like more of a 1024 by 600. Let me get out of that. So, but if you plug that into an LCD TV using the mini HDMI, it'll play it out at full HD. So that's its main benefit. Now, I did try that on an AVI and it didn't work. So my guess is that the graphics acceleration only works on MP4. So and the screen is really where everything falls down on this, I have to say. I don't want to say everything falls down, but it's biggest drawback. It's very low res at 800 by 480, but more importantly, it's not very responsive at all. It misses a lot of touches and a lot of key presses. But if you want to do, if you're used to an iPad, it will frustrate you, because it's not, it can't be anywhere as good as an iPad at €83 delivered. But if you're coming from, and I'll show you here, if you're coming from this, if you're coming from a 3DS, which is what, in fact, my daughter will be coming from just a DSi, it's equal to and far better, because it's not a resistive screen, it's capacitive. Game-wise, I've seen no problem. So games work fine. I've seen no issues with touch on games. It's just when I was using the keyboard and so on that what I found was it was missing key taps. I'd touch icons and you'd have to touch them twice. Now maybe I have similar problems on the iPad, to be honest, a lot of the time. So this is Angry Birds. Took a little while to load up there, but once it's loaded, it's fine. As you can see, I'm having no touch issues there. And diddly-doo, the usual blah blah blah. Boom, did that completely wrong, but there you go. So that's Angry Birds, all fine. You'll notice on Ice Cream Sandwich, it has on-screen, back, home and recent apps icons there, but for some strange reason they have harder buttons, or capacitive buttons here as well on the side. No biggie. What else to report? Anything you can throw at it, really. As I said, Play Music, YouTube. I ran some full HD YouTube stuff plugged into a TV, worked beautifully. So that's cool. Gmail works fine. There's all your apps there that I've got installed. What else is there to say? It's €83. So let's do some comparisons. That's 83. As I said, 7-inch. Beside it, if we just put it just for comparison, beside it, there's an iPad. That's $499. Is it worth more than 4 times that? No, I'm afraid it isn't. For your average family, these devices, I think, are the sweet spot, or let's say slightly higher, and I'll get to that in a second. Slightly higher spec, but if my daughter has a choice in an €83 tablet that has Wi-Fi, is fully web enabled, it has full Android market, it can play any games that are out there, and they're all at 99 cent, $1.99, $2.99 level, or she could buy that, her brother's DS, which was going to cost more than double. In fact, actually more than double, is completely useless when it comes to internet web. All the games cost €40+. It's the classic, it's a no-brainer. Small, simple point actually on the Size of the thing, the 7-inch seems to be exactly the same size as you can see. That's a Kindle 3, so I've taken the Kindle 3 case for it, or a cover, and it fits in almost perfectly, so that's ideal. Thickness wise, just so you get a sense there, that's it. I think it's about 8 mil. It's very, very light. It is also very, very plasticky. I mean, it is all plastic. That isn't a glass screen, that's a plastic screen. But I'll just say it again, and I'll say it again, and I'll say it again. It's €83. Now, so would I buy one of these for myself? No. But I would buy something very, very similar. So my plan with this, given my experiences with it over the past few days, is for myself, I had thought, I mean, my plan was, I don't really like the iPad, I still find it limiting, I hate the lack of ports on it, the lack of expandability, but my thought was, oh, you know, I'll get an Asus Transformer Prime, the new one that's coming out in a few months with full HD, blah blah blah, and that's going to cost, you know, the guts of €500. And then I thought, I don't really need it. I like having a tablet. I particularly like having a tablet while watching the TV, tweeting away, Facebooking away, sharing stuff, looking up, you know, information about people. I don't need a €500 tablet to do that. So my thought is, I'll either go with the kind of higher spec version of one of these, so the 7-incher guys, but more at the sort of the €110, €120 level rather than the €83 level. The reason for that is you get the higher res screen. They're generally IPS screens. A lot of them are actually made by Samsung, so they're very, very high quality. And I think that'll deal with really my only major criticism of the device. And I know it's a big criticism, the screen. Alternatively, I may go towards kind of the 9.7 as in iPad size. I'm not sure though. You know, this just works. This little doodad just works. So what I'll do is, she's not getting this until Sunday. It's a bit of a surprise for her. So I let her run with it for a week or two. She's a smart kid, and then I get her feedback. You know, the problems she sees, why she likes it, why she doesn't. So just give you a quick look there on the, as you saw there, like I missed that tab, on the Kindle app. What is it showing me there? Yeah, so that's Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. And you know, that's very readable. That's, you know, it's 800 by 480, but it's very, very readable indeed. I mean, I like it a lot. Not much else to say. Throw questions at me if you have them. Will I buy another one of these? If the other kids decide they want them and they want to give me some of their savings, I'll happily buy them for them. The Eken products in general, I mean, actually, and that's an important one, the build quality in this is actually very good. I was expecting, you know, scratches, badly fitted, badly put together, but it's extremely good. I can't criticize it at all. So quality wise, it's fine compared to anything else you're going to buy at that price point. If I do go for the higher models, I'll do a report back. But you know, once you start heading into the sort of the 140, 150 mark, then are you know, is it really worthwhile then just going the extra mile and getting a Kindle Fire or something like that? I don't know. That's kind of an open question I have. Battery life, I don't know. It says 3600 milliamp hours. I have my doubts. But apparently this all-winner chip, and I love the name because it really is, it's a winner for all these Chinese manufacturers. It supposedly is very power efficient. That's about it. Thanks very much. Talk to you later.